Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Happy Monday and welcome to another edition of the ActuallyTraded.com nightly wrap-up show. If everybody's doing well, guys, take a second out, support the channel if you like what we're doing. If you are a believer in technical analysis and trading both sides of the market, this is obviously a pretty cool platform for you. If not, we could always be friends on social media. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Big numbers across the board today. NASDAQ up 1.86%, nearly say 2%. S&P up 1.2%, and Dow up 0.7%. Obviously, after I recorded the video on the weekend update, we saw words that we're pretty much on the 5-yard line, right? On the 5-yard line of the China United States trade war, some, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, some concessions here or there, but, we're there. We're right there. Obviously, that's what the world is looking for. It kind of trumped, no pun intended, the 10% increase of potential tariffs on Canada. As much as I love bacon and syrup, I don't need any of that stuff, but as much as I like it, right, it doesn't anywhere compare to what is potentially on the table for Trump and China, I guess, truce, right? Truce. And obviously the market loved the news. First close in the S&P over 6,800. Everything was going absolutely nuts, as you can imagine. 99% of my watch list to the upside got absolutely destroyed because everything gapped so much. And the question was, well, is this going to be a sell the news type of scenario? Oh, we finally got our news, let's move forward. Or is this going to be a gap and go? We got our answer very, very quickly. Initially, my plan was to wait for a dip literally on anything, right? Literally on anything. Obviously, we talked about on the weekend update the potential of Amazon and Meta, right? Amazon and Meta potentially getting to reclaiming back the 50-day moving average. As you can imagine, they finally did. Both of them, Meta was up like 10 over the 50-day moving average. Amazon was up like 4 over the 50-day moving average. So I was waiting for one of them to come in. Honestly, I wanted Amazon. I actually got Amazon. Gave us a nice bounce. Gave us a beautiful bounce right at the open. Again, we always talk about, if you always hear me talk about rising 60-minute support, if you follow this just with the eye, you don't have to know exactly what these things are. But if you follow with the eye, this 20-day, 20 period, it bounces very, very aggressively. And then we caught the rebound perfectly on the bounce. Gave us about nearly a $2 bounce. So it started out really, really well. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's just see what else we have. And guys, I tell you, and, I was really dumbfounded of how much value we have. Usually, if you could catch really great value throughout the week, it's literally spread out throughout the week. You might catch something here for $2 and here for $3 and here for $2. It combines. You're like, wow, this is a really good week. We literally got a week's worth of value in about an hour. Literally in about an hour. Everything just started going absolutely bananas. Just really, really absolutely bananas. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. We didn't get all the pivots in. Things were just happening so damn fast that it was very, very tough to keep up with everything. Okay. Apple, pre-market highs, 265.30, 265.88, pretty much needs to confirm. As you can imagine, Apple went absolutely nuts. This is now the highest close in the whole formation, traded up to 269. A smorgasbord of 270s, 275s. There's some 280 short-term calls coming in super duper aggressive. So you have Amazon coming in, you have Apple getting very, very aggressive. Obviously, you have a lot of earnings coming in Wednesday and Thursday, including Amazon, including Meta, including Microsoft, including Apple. So you can see what happened. And then next thing you know, one of the biggest moves I could remember in a very, very long time, not named Tesla, when Tesla goes, and we'll get to Tesla in a second, that goes just bananas, right? Parabolic, whatever, supernova, whatever you want to do. So when the stock was trading around 173, we started seeing an incredible amount of 177, 180 weekly calls. Keep this in mind. This is 4 points out of the money out of nowhere. One after another after another. So there was a very, very big level here. 174.50. Big level needs to confirm. I think the word confirm is an understatement. What Qualcomm did was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous on news, right? On news that it is developing a rival chip to NVIDIA. As you can see here, where it took off was crazy, right? It's just crazy. It took off. It started taking off at 172, confirmed the 74.5. This was on one candle. The stock went all the way up to 206, just absolutely crazy. And then Jerry Murphy, shout out to Jerry Murphy. I wasn't even watching it. Said, turn around and goes, hey, Dan, do you know that ARM is its biggest business partner, whatever the hell it was? And I was like, all right, let's watch ARM. And the next thing you know, a buyer comes in with the 200 weeklies when the stock was like 177.5. So I got long at 78. We sold it into this 82 area. This wasn't a matter of, this was a matter of what, 3 to 5 minutes, guys, for all you guys in the webinar. You kind of know 3 to 5 minutes gives a 4-point move into. I'm thinking, wow, this is starting to get really, really crazy. And I was like, all right, cool. We got that. We got that. That's all good. And then next thing you know, and again, we talked about on the weekend update, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? So let's review, right? Thursday, you had Wednesday night, they came out with earnings. They got slammed on earnings, right? Thursday, the stock went from like 414 to 449. The massive reversal. Only to the next day, which was Friday, to sell off all the way down to like 430s. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what the hell is potentially going to happen today? And as like I mentioned on the weekend video, we talked about, well, it's $3 off its lows versus $17 off its highs. Obviously, right? This is why we play the game. Let's watch this damn thing to the downside. Obviously, it didn't happen. So we started watching Tesla started getting firmer and firmer and firmer and firmer. And I'm like, there's no way you could possibly tell me Tesla's going to get back to Friday's high, right? It's no way that's going to happen. And then we started seeing some of the most aggressive call buying that I can remember on Tesla in a very, very long time. When the stock was like 441, 442, they were coming for the 450s, 460s, 470s, 480s weeklies, folks, weeklies. They started coming in for the Januaries, right? The January's 500s, 510s. I'm assuming, again, this is all speculating, but I'm assuming this has something to do with the November 6th Elon Musk vote, right? Vote for the $1 trillion package. It's amazing. Just need to say that out loud. So Tesla went out of its mind. It confirmed 461.68. Again, as you can see, your size buyers all morning, 455, 460s. And Tesla went out of its mind. Like literally out of its mind, right? Out of its mind. And I said, guys, get down to a runner. Get down to a runner at 459. Why was 459 a very, very important area? Because if you look at the daily chart, it stopped right at the 60-minute supply. You see it? You see I got 60-minute supply? We didn't think, right? When I say get down to a runner, I meant to run it because I really thought I was going to take the stock overnight. I didn't think everybody was going to get stopped back out through 452 because Tesla, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of ish, right, decides in the middle of the day, towards the end of the day, just to randomly sell off $10. God knows what happens. Everybody gets stopped without break even on the balance of their runners. But again, can anybody really complain about Tesla giving an $8 move? No, right? No. So just an absolute crazy day. Absolute crazy day. I'm sure I'm missing some other stuff off of the Twitter feed. I just didn't have time to put in. But there's a lot to talk about going into tomorrow, guys. Let me give you guys a whole bunch of names. Not a whole bunch of names, but I want to give you guys a bunch of names to watch for tomorrow. Okay. Number one, I want to start out with a small cap stock. Don't tell me, don't judge me. So ASST or AST. Okay. The stock for some reason traded 1 billion shares today. Don't ask me why, right? Start trading 1 billion shares today. When I mean nonstop, again, if this is not my thing, I don't have a position on it. I don't plan on buying it. I couldn't care less if this game goes to 0 or goes to 10, right? I'm just kind of passing on when I saw it was outlandish, right? This has something to do with Bitcoin, Schmidtcoin, something that, guys, they were coming in for $2, $3 calls, $5 calls, $7.50 calls, $20 calls. When I'm talking about the whole day, the whole day. So if you're in this thing and you know what's going on with this thing, maybe you can tell people what's going on in the comments. I have no idea what's going on with this thing, but the amount of call buying coming into this thing is absolutely out of its mind. Stock right now, as we're speaking, is trading around 160. So God knows by the time you see this broadcast, maybe it's 50 cents. And I tweeted this out. I go, I don't know what this thing is. I have no interest in this thing at all, but this thing is either going with all the call buying. This thing is either going to turn into the biggest Christmas present of 2025, or this thing's going to break up more marriages than Heidi Fleiss and her networks of hookers back in the 90s. Again, if you're old enough to remember, you're old enough to remember. So that's crazy. Okay, some big call buying coming in Avago. Let's talk about Avago, right? Broadcom, Avago. Avago is very, very close to breaking out out of a 2-week channel. We saw incredible amount of call buying coming in for the weekly 370s and the 380s. Folks, let's definitely watch Avago tomorrow. If there is going to be a kind of another run, and the semiconductors got really, really strong very, very quickly. But if Avago comes in with more call buying tomorrow and they start coming out of this 2-week channel, I am definitely interested in Avago for tomorrow. Let's talk about NVIDIA, right? Even though NVIDIA was on the other side of that Qualcomm news, NVIDIA did not go down. Matter of fact, not only did NVIDIA not go down, it closed relatively near the highs, because all day they were coming in very, very aggressively for the weekly 195 and 200 calls. Same theory with Avago. Let's watch it tomorrow. Let's watch down handles as far as dip. Let's watch the continuation of call buyers come in with short-term expiration. But I definitely want to watch. I definitely want to watch Avago. I definitely want to watch NVIDIA for tomorrow. Snow. Odd buying coming in snow. Okay. A buyer came in on snow. And again, it closed. I'm guessing it closed. I don't know if it's all-time highs. Let me just check real quickly. Yeah, it closed at all-time highs. But here was the interesting part. A couple of buyers came in for $10 out of the money calls for Snowflake. So if Snowflake has another day too, let's definitely keep an eye on that as well. You guys, we talked about Path over the weekend. We talked about Path. It stopped twice at the 10-day. It got back above the 10-day. This closed at the highs of the day. All it needs to do is reclaim back the October 16 highs. They continued to pound this thing with short-term $20 calls. So let's definitely keep an eye on that. And obviously, now that equities are very, very strong again, well, the opposite, right? I'm guessing, the get out of purgatory trade was gold. Gold fell for the first time under $4,000 an ounce in a very, very long time. Not only did gold fall, but it triggered another pivot point to the downside. This is now the first close below the 20-day moving average. So again, if there is a name to watch, just in case the equities continue to rally and you are interested in a potential another leg down on gold, keep an eye on that. And HIMS, right? HIMS, had its little dead cat bounce, got rejected off the 50-day moving average. And now this thing is once again very, very close of getting hit. I want to keep an eye on that as well, just in case the market comes in as well. So again, just an absolute crazy day. It started out calm. It got crazy. It got nuts. It got beyond crazy. It gave us, like I said, enough value to kind of fill up a whole week. And the question is, what happens? Let's see what happens next, right? And we always say this in trading. It's like, there's a difference between a gambler and a trader, right? A gambler, just because you hit for the 5-cent slots in Atlantic City or Vegas and you hit for $500, doesn't mean you're a professional gambler. The key is do it again and do it again and do it again. And that's the goal, guys. Do it again. And let's see what we got tomorrow. Maybe today's an outlier event. That is kind of, I don't use the word sell the news because consider how strong the market is. But let's see if this is a type of situation that there's a little bit of a bow put on this whole China U.S. trade war. Can the market rally tomorrow? I mean, listen, everything's possible. Sure, the market closed at all-time highs. But again, always remember, do not chase the euphoria, okay? Do not chase the euphoria. Whatever you like, give it an opportunity to backtest into rising support. If a stock is going to be strong, it's going to be strong the whole day. Give yourself a safer entry instead of chasing into highs. Guys, God bless everybody. Have a great night. Take a deep breath, and God's help, I'll see you all again tomorrow. Take care.